Kia ora, welcome to Everyday. I'm Anne-Marie Miller. It's Monday the 28th of April. Hope you enjoyed your long weekend and remembered those who served for us on Anzac Day. Did you make it to a dawn parade? Do you know it was on this day back in 1864 that the historic Gate Parr battle took place, at Gate Parr of course. It withstood heavy bombardment from the British, and of course it's become a battle that is known to all New Zealanders. I still remember learning about it way back actually, in history class with Mrs. Mooney. It's taken me back a fair few years. Let's move on before I start feeling far too old. On today's show, we're going to catch up with Phil Gray first up. Now, of course, he's the Community Radio Hamilton manager. He's going to be talking to us about a career in radio. Mark Olsen, who's an artist doing very well both here and overseas, joins me. And Kate Campion talks about Stitch and Bitch. Sounds very interesting. First up though, have you ever considered a career in radio but you just don't know where to start? Phil Gray joins me now from Community Radio Hamilton. He might be able to help. Welcome to Everyday again. Good to see you.
Nice to be here.
So, how many programs are there on community radio?
Well, it's growing all the time, but at the moment we have about 100 radio shows every week from our studios in Collingwood Street, Hamilton.
That is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. And that's 100 different people learning the ropes of radio.
Well, yes. I mean, some of our content is sent to us externally. We select special sort of BBC documentaries that we think really build on what we're trying to do locally. We also have some content sent to us from some of the other 10 access radio stations around the country. But the majority are local programs, live radio, made by people from the community. And
there's a huge range right through from serious topics through to light-hearted music.
Absolutely. Yeah. The core of access radio stations is content that is unique local content representing segments of the community that don't otherwise have the opportunity to directly engage in the media.
So how can someone get involved then with radio? Where do they start?
Well, access stations are ideally set up to give people that start in radio. In the case of Community Radio Hamilton, the website. It's a great place to start, communityradio.co.nz. There's a section there called Make Radio, and we've put the information on there about the process from originally having a thought of, hey, I've got an idea for a radio show, I think this would be interesting, I think people would like to hear this, or maybe people that just think, radio, that sounds kind of cool, I think I want to do that. It's got the information you need to go from that first point through to coming and talking to us, which is really the second bit, coming and talking to me or my team about that idea that you have.
It would also be handy for someone who's looking to get into mainstream radio as well and perhaps go into broadcasting school or something like that?
Very much so, yes, and that's something we've certainly tried to foster at Community Radio Hamilton. We have a pretty strong relationship with Wintec's radio broadcasting qualification, so we are working very hard to give opportunities to those students to come and get real airtime. Also, we have in the past had people who, as you say, want to go on to broadcasting school, to the degree program in Christchurch, who think, well, I really want to get in, but it's hugely competitive. What can I do to better my chances? Access stations like Community Radio Hamilton are the place you can go and say, here's where I can develop a show, here's where I can get it broadcast, streamed, podcast, and get that evidence on my CV that I'm doing it for real. And we've had some great success in that area.
So what's the criteria required to become involved, become a team member of Community Radio Hamilton?
A great idea, a knowledge, a passion, an interest, and a dedication, really. We have hugely diverse subjects for radio shows. It's not just non-English content from migrant communities, it's all sorts of things, not-for-profit groups, health and disability sector, organisations doing radio shows. So it takes a good idea that is sustainable over a period of time. So what we ask people to do is really think, am I involved in something, or have I got an idea for a radio show that's going to make good radio for at least 6 months of a weekly radio show? We'll certainly help the person develop the content as well.
Because it isn't just a matter of turning up, switching on the mic and away you go. And you actually need to do some research beforehand, even if it's just a music show.
Well,
might want a theme for the show.
Like good television, good radio needs that information to back it up. And I'm certainly a very, very strong advocate for even music programs. If you speak knowledgeably about the music you're playing, the audience gets so much more out of it. They may not have appreciated the music prior to that, but if they're informed about it and understand the context in which it was made, then a whole world opens up to them.
Telling the story behind the song, that little piece of trivia or about the artist or something like that.
Yeah, and sometimes that's only 10 or 15 minutes but research needed, but it makes for a much more wonderful radio show.
And of course radio isn't just all about announcing as well. There's a lot of opportunities with regards to marketing and creative writing and engineering. Are people able to get experience with that through community radio?
Yeah, they can. You're right. People often think radio, oh, that's the person behind the microphone. That's just one of the people. You know, there's a whole team of people in commercial radio especially who are making things happen. And the same in Access Radio. I have a small team, a small paid staff of 6 people and around 120 volunteer broadcasters. But there are people who are doing the production work, who are doing the script writing. We need to sell commercial advertising like any sort of broadcast facility. But there's certainly opportunities, people who are interested in audio production. We've got the equipment, we've got the ability, we've got the skills. We're happy to pass them on to people.
Yeah. What makes you proud to be part of Community Radio Hamilton?
Particularly proud to be part of the change, part of the evolution in the station. You know, the station started about 17 years ago, a very small station, a dedicated small team of people volunteering their time. It's grown into a much bigger thing now. It's grown into an access station which I think is really setting a standard in this country for community access radio. Certainly very, very proud to be creating opportunities for people who really need those opportunities, and some of the people who have responded to our free speech campaign that we've been running recently. You know, particularly migrant communities, people have come from places in the world where they cannot speak freely in the media. They come here, they're not going to get an opportunity in commercial radio because that's not what commercial radio is for, but access radio is. That's our unique place, is those people coming, making their own radio programs for their own communities and talking about issues that are important to them without any sort of editorial control from me or my team. And that's I just find that so stimulating to be involved with.
You're empowering people. Thanks
Absolutely.
so much for coming in, Phil.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Sure thing.
If you would like to find out more about a career in radio, then do what Phil suggested. Take a look at the website communityradio.co.nz. There was a link there called Make Radio, so take a look at that. And of course you can listen to Community Radio Hamilton on 12:06 AM throughout the Waikato, or in Hamilton City at 106.7 FM.